Hi there, this is Naomi Nygaard, and I'm a coach and therapist and founder and creator of FAB Freedom and also the Freedom Steps. And this video is about talking a little bit more about my story and why I came to create the Freedom Steps. So, the Freedom Steps are an integration between the three things that help me to heal in my experience of the addictive process in my life. They are embodied mindfulness, so what's happening right here in my body, learning about noticing that, being willing to feel that, and allow that to show me where I need to go. And then also 12-step recovery. I'll say a bit more about 12-step recovery in a minute. And also internal family systems therapy, which I first learned about as a client and then trained as a therapist in that model. And I'm passionate about these three different ways of healing and the possibilities that arise for us when we ourselves are in the addictive process, which almost every one of us is. And I'll say a bit more about that in a minute as well. And the possibilities for healing, for recovery through these three different powerful vehicles of change. Now, my story is that I was brought up in a life, in a family, in a school, as many of us were, that was steeped in what I think of as the addictive process. And the main pain of this for me was the emphasis on perfectionism and not making mistakes. And I picked up on this very, very early on in my family and in my school. I remember when must have been only about 4 years old, very, very new to school, my teacher telling me when I cried because I missed my mum and I was bewildered about what was expected of me, telling me, "Don't cry, you're a big girl, don't cry anymore now." And there wasn't kindness, it was more, "You've done something wrong. We don't show emotions here, we don't express feelings here. If you want to fit in here, you don't talk about what's going on inside you, you don't talk about that pain." And I copied what she was doing in her own life because I knew I'd be in trouble otherwise, and I wanted to be safe in that environment. And again, no mistakes being allowed. We had to achieve, we had to deliver work, and that at such an early age, changing me and making me realize that in order to survive in this life, in this society, in this culture, I had to dampen down my feelings and I had to push through. And literally, this has been something that I've had to continue working with because I believe that we're all steeped in this kind of addiction to perfection, to achievement, to control. And it creates a kind of split that, in a way, it's unusual if we don't go into some kind of addictive process in response to this way, this paradigm, this way of viewing life. And so that is what happened through my childhood, through my adolescence, and then really when I hit my 20s, I had developed many different ways of numbing the pain of not being able to feel safe enough to express what was happening for me, numbing the pain of not even being in touch with my emotions, or if they did come up, the feeling that they were a bit overwhelming or very overwhelming, and that it was all a bit too much. So I found numerous different ways. The main one for me was food, sugary, sweet, junky food, and a combination of food and films and books, just literally finding anything I could to kind of hide out and feel this safety and protection from a world that I felt was difficult, demanding, confusing, and demanded something from me that I wasn't actually capable of, which is this holy grail of perfection. And of course, at the same time, I aspired to be accepted by society. I aspired to belong. And so I wanted to look thin and perfect and be received and have that feeling that I was succeeding. But there was a real dissonance in my system. There was a real split where actually I felt I could never really belong. Deep down, I felt like no one should ever see the real me. And I think many of us do, from the different clients I speak to, there are different versions of this where we feel like we have to escape and numb out from our experience of our bodies, our experience of our feelings, and that we have to do that just to survive and get through and succeed and be as good as we want to be and fulfill all the goals that we want to in life and get ahead and feel like we're one of the ones that have succeeded, right? So I'm passionate about working these days with anyone that identifies as being within this addictive paradigm, whether that's to something that we think of traditionally when we think of addiction, like drugs and alcohol, whether that's to what it was for me, which was my experience with food, my relationship with food and my body. And also, I've had to recover from relationship addiction. So an addiction to controlling other people, to feeling like I needed other people's approval to be okay, and the ways in which I felt like I clung to other people or other people clung to me and I didn't want that. So all the sort of different entanglements in my relationship world, which I view now as part of that addictive process too. And of course, sexuality got involved in that, making it all much more complex, and gender, and all these different ways in which I've tried to objectify myself and my experience. And I've come out feeling like I don't really even know who I am here. And I feel disconnected from my body. And I see this a lot in the people I speak to. And when I'm looking at the world through the eyes of the addictive process, I realize that actually many of us feel that we are not in control of our lives, and fighting that, and also not really in connection with ourselves and who we really are. So I'm very passionate about the 12 steps because it has helped me unpeel and recover within a group's safe space the different layers of my different addictions. And it's helped me to feel that actually there's always hope. There is always, always hope. Even though we live in this really, really addicted world where a lot of our institutions and organizations are steeped in the kind of perfectionism, the kind of pushing, the kind of split from our body, the kind of criticism, the demands on us, almost the demands to be addictive, right? The demands that we watch the Netflix or eat this junk food or drink this next glass of wine, all the advertising that we're bombarded with, all the overwhelm that we feel. That actually there is always hope. We can come together with other people, like-minded people that are also keen on actually connecting in a deeper level and finding out who we are, and finding out that we are totally perfect, that our worth is not dependent on what we achieve and what we do all day long, but that actually it comes from a deeper place, our sense of actually, you know what, I'm perfect just because I'm here, I'm me, and I'm exquisite just the way I am. Happy for no reason. I'm also passionate about internal family systems therapy. It's something that I work with clients, and I also work within my own system to find a way where actually the addictive process for me was always about parts of me that were trying to protect me. And IFS, internal family systems, has really shone a light on this. That actually there's no part of me that was just trying to fuck up my life. There was no part of me that was just trying to destroy things because it was like a saboteur and it just wanted to destroy me. It always had some kind of motivation of protection, motivation of taking care of me, numbing out the pain when it felt like the pain was too much, and just really taking the edge off in all the different ways it did, whether that was wine, a spliff, a chocolate bar, Netflix, my phone, talking, thinking, all the different ways that I would try and alter my experience and feel a little bit better just in that moment, all the ways that didn't work. So IFS has become a really gentle, loving, accepting, and inclusive lens through which I can view my own parts, my own family of parts, and also the different people that I meet out there in the world, also within that addictive process, and finding healing. So the freedom steps is a combination of all these different things: the body, the systems that are inside us, the systems that are outside of us, and also the way in which through the 12 steps we learn that we can do the deep work and we don't have to make it too hard. We can do it with support, we can receive a community, and we can find a way where actually we're shedding and unloading the difficult things from our past, and we're finding that we're stepping forward into a new freedom. So the freedom steps is a combination of all these different vehicles. I believe it takes the best of them all. I think some of the language of 12 step is a little bit outdated and could do with a little bit of a dust off, so that we feel that even as women, as men, any gender or no gender, we belong, and also that actually we're not feeling like there's any kind of God that's being prescribed to us, but we can connect with that deeper sense of what nourishes us, and that can be enough to just guide us through to the next step, breaking free from whatever addiction we feel that we're up against. So I'm really delighted that our paths have crossed. I look forward to receiving your questions, your thoughts, and your own experiences about the addictive process and about recovery, what's helped you. It's a passion that I have, and I know that as a human family, we are getting to that new level now where more and more of us are breaking free from our addictive processes and realizing that to be healthy, we need to take good care of ourselves, and we need to stay connected to people that are also in the process of transformation and change. So I look forward to our paths crossing, as I say, and I really, really am grateful for this opportunity to share some of my story. And let's stay in this conversation together.